Isabella arrives at an upscale restaurant for a blind date with James, a charming single dad. Just as sparks begin to fly, his 7-year-old daughter Emma unexpectedly crashes their evening. What starts as an awkward interruption transforms into something magical when Emma whispers a heartbreaking secret to Isabella that changes the entire trajectory of their lives. This is a story about unexpected connections, buried pain, and how sometimes the smallest voices carry the biggest truths. Watch till the very end. Emma's whispered words in the final moments will leave you speechless. You need to hear what this little girl said that made Isabella's decision impossible to ignore. If you want stories beyond the headlines, subscribe and stay with us. Before we continue, let us know where in the world you're watching from. We love seeing how far our stories reach. Isabella checked her reflection one last time in the restaurant's glass door. The blue satin strap dress hugged her figure perfectly, elegant but not overdone. First blind dates always made her nervous, but something about tonight felt different. She took a deep breath, smoothed down her dress, and stepped inside. The restaurant was beautiful. Soft candlelight flickered on every table, casting dancing shadows on the cream walls. The smell of fresh basil and garlic filled the air. Classical music played softly in the background. This was the kind of place where people celebrated anniversaries and made important decisions. She scanned the room until her eyes landed on him. James sat at a corner table near the window, his deep red shirt complementing his warm brown eyes. He was more handsome than his photos suggested. When he saw her, he stood immediately, a genuine smile spreading across his face. "Isabella?" "That's me." She extended her hand, but he gently pulled her into a brief hug instead. He smelled like cedar and citrus. "I'm so glad you actually showed up." James laughed nervously, pulling out her chair. "My track record with blind dates has been questionable at best." Isabella slid into her seat, already feeling relaxed. "Well, I almost didn't. My best friend literally pushed me out the door. She said if I canceled one more date, she'd create a profile for me with embarrassing college photos." James laughed genuinely. "Sounds like a good friend. Tough love." "The best. She's been trying to get me back out there for months. I've been using work as an excuse to avoid dating entirely." "What do you do?" James asked, leaning forward with interest. "I'm a pediatric nurse at Children's Memorial Hospital. Long hours, emotionally exhausting, but I love it. What about you?" "I'm an architect. I specialize in sustainable housing, trying to make eco-friendly homes affordable for regular people, not just the wealthy." Isabella's eyes lit up. "That's amazing. The world needs more people thinking like that." The conversation flowed naturally. They discovered a shared love of terrible action movies, the kind where physics didn't matter. James confessed he watched them to turn his brain off after stressful days. Isabella admitted she watched them while eating ice cream straight from the container. "Sunday morning coffee is sacred to me," Isabella said, eyes sparkling. "I have this ritual. French press, exactly 4 minutes, no distractions. Just me, my coffee, and whatever book I'm reading." "I'm exactly the same," James's eyes widened. "Everyone thinks I'm crazy, but that first cup has to be perfect. No phone, no TV, just silence and coffee. Finally, someone who understands." James leaned back with a mischievous grin. "Okay, confession time. What's your irrational fear?" Isabella groaned, covering her face. "You're gonna judge me." "Never, promise." "Birds, specifically pigeons. They're evil creatures." James's jaw dropped. "You're afraid of pigeons too? Wait, you too?" "I once ran from a seagull that stole my sandwich, full sprint down the boardwalk, in front of my entire office during a company picnic. I knocked over a trash can and everything. There's video somewhere." Their laughter filled the space, drawing smiles from nearby tables. The waiter appeared with wine, recommended dishes, and disappeared. Everything was going impossibly well. Isabella couldn't remember feeling this comfortable with someone new. Too perfect. Then the restaurant door burst open, slamming against the wall. A small girl in a pink dress stood in the entrance, chest heaving from running. Her curly hair was wild around her face. Tears streaked down her flushed cheeks. Her eyes frantically searched until they locked onto James. "Daddy!" Isabella watched James' face drain of color. The wine glass froze halfway to his lips. He stood so quickly, his chair scraped loudly against the floor. "Emma? How did you get here?" The little girl ran through the restaurant, weaving between tables as startled diners watched. She threw herself at James, wrapping her arms around his waist. Her whole body shook with sobs. Behind her, an elderly woman appeared, looking panicked. Her gray hair was disheveled, and she was breathing hard. "I'm so sorry, James," the woman called out. "She just bolted when I went to get her pajamas. I couldn't catch her. She's surprisingly fast." Isabella sat frozen, forks suspended in midair. The romantic atmosphere shattered. Every eye in the restaurant was on them. She could hear whispered conversations starting. James crouched to his daughter's level, hands gentle on her shoulders. "Emma, sweetheart, what's wrong? You're supposed to be with Mrs. Patterson. We talked about this carefully." "I don't want to be with Mrs. Patterson," Emma's voice cracked. "I want to be with you. I need you." The entire restaurant went quiet, except for the background music. Isabella felt the awkwardness radiating everywhere. Her mind raced. He hadn't mentioned having a daughter. Should she leave? Stay? Pretend this was normal? James looked up at Isabella, expression mortified and helpless. "Isabella, I am so sorry. This has never happened before. I don't know what to say." "It's okay," Isabella heard herself say. Her nursing instincts kicked in. The child was genuinely distressed. James turned back to Emma. "Baby, I explained this. Daddy needed one grown-up evening, just one. You said you understood. You promised you'd be good." "I lied." Emma's voice was small but defiant. "I'm sorry I lied, but I had to come. I had to." Mrs. Patterson approached nervously. "Should I try to take her back?" "James, again, I'm so sorry. We were reading a princess story, and she just jumped up and ran out before I could stop her. By the time I got outside, she was down the street." Isabella watched carefully. Something in Emma's eyes caught her attention. Not defiance, but desperation. The look she'd seen countless times in young patients. The look of a child who needed something they couldn't articulate. "Maybe," Isabella spoke before thinking, "maybe Emma could join us, just for a little while." James's head snapped toward her. "What? No, Isabella, you don't have to. This is completely inappropriate. I should take her home." "I want to," she said, meaning it, "if that's okay. She seems really upset." James searched her face for resentment. Finding sincerity, his shoulders sagged with relief. "Are you absolutely sure? This isn't how I wanted tonight to go." "I'm positive. It's fine. Really." Mrs. Patterson looked relieved. "I'll head home then. James, again, I'm so sorry. Call if you need anything." And just like that, their romantic dinner for two became three. Emma climbed into the chair beside Isabella. Up close, the girl was beautiful. Her father's warm eyes, wild curly hair, long eyelashes. "Hi," Emma said quietly. "Hi yourself," I replied with a smile. "I'm Isabella." "That's a princess name," Emma's eyes widened. "You think so?" "Definitely. There's a Princess Isabella in my storybook. She has a magic garden and talks to animals and saves the kingdom from a dragon by herself." "That's a lot to live up to." James had his face in his hands. "Emma, you can't just crash people's dates because you don't want to be home. That's not how things work." "Why not?" Emma asked with simple logic. "Because it's rude, and you scared Mrs. Patterson half to death. She's probably having a heart attack worrying about you." "Mrs. Patterson smells like mothballs and only lets me watch boring animal shows. I wanted the princess movie, but she said it was too late and I needed bed." Isabella bit back a smile. The kid had a point. The waiter appeared, looking uncertain. James ordered chicken fingers and fries for Emma, apologizing. They tried salvaging the evening. Surprisingly, it wasn't awkward. Emma was chatty and curious, asking Isabella about everything, from favorite colors to ghosts to why wine smelled funny. "Do you have kids?" Emma asked suddenly. "Emma," James warned sharply. "It's okay," Isabella said. "No, I don't, but I work with lots of kids at the hospital. I'm a nurse." Emma's eyes widened. Are you a doctor? A nurse. I help take care of sick children and make them feel better. Do they cry a lot? Sometimes, when they're scared or hurting, but usually they're incredibly brave, braver than most adults. Emma considered this seriously. I'm brave too. I ran 6 whole blocks by myself in the dark to find Daddy. Mrs. Patterson couldn't catch me. That was very brave, also very dangerous, and you shouldn't do it again. But yes, brave. As dinner progressed, Isabella noticed something. Every few minutes, Emma would glance at her father with a worried expression, not checking if he was there, but something deeper, something fearful, like if she looked away too long, he might disappear forever. James tried balancing apologizing and parenting. He was clearly a good father, patient but firm, loving but not permissive. When Emma reached for his wine, he moved it gently and explained why children couldn't drink alcohol. When she started kicking the table, he quietly asked her to stop, and she did immediately. Isabella watched him, seeing a new dimension to this man. How he touched Emma's hair affectionately, how he cut her chicken into smaller pieces without being asked, how he listened when she talked, really listened, like her 7-year-old observations were the most important things. "Daddy, can I have dessert?" Emma asked sweetly. "I don't know if you deserve dessert after that stunt, young lady." Emma's lower lip trembled. Tears threatened. "But," James continued quickly, "since Isabella has been so understanding about this chaos, maybe we can share something, if you promise to behave and never run away from Mrs. Patterson again." "I promise. I super-duper promise with sprinkles on top." They ordered tiramisu and chocolate cake. Emma insisted Isabella try both, giving detailed reviews like a tiny food critic. "The chocolate is better because chocolate is always better than coffee things," Emma declared with absolute certainty. "Coffee is yucky and bitter. Grown-ups only pretend to like it." "A solid argument," Isabella agreed, taking tiramisu anyway. "Though I respectfully disagree." "You actually like coffee?" Emma looked horrified, like Isabella had admitted to eating dirt. "I love coffee. It's one of my favorite things in the world." "Even Daddy doesn't like coffee that much. He says it's just fuel to get through the day." "Well, your daddy is completely wrong about that. Coffee is a gift to humanity." James laughed, tension finally easing. "I'm being ganged up on. 2 against 1 isn't fair." As Emma devoured dessert, getting chocolate on her nose and tiramisu in her hair, James leaned closer to Isabella. His voice was low. "I am so sorry about tonight. This has never happened in 2 years. Emma's usually great with sitters. She's never run away like this." "Kids are unpredictable," Isabella said softly. "I see it daily at work. They have big feelings they don't know how to process. Don't worry. Really, it's fine." "Can I at least explain?" James asked desperately, about not mentioning her. "I wasn't trying to hide anything or deceive you." "You don't owe me—" "I want to." James ran a hand through his hair nervously. "Emma's mom passed away 2 years ago. Breast cancer. Fast and brutal. It destroyed us both. Since then, we've been figuring things out together, learning to be a family of 2 instead of 3. This was my first date since everything happened. My first attempt at any life outside just being Dad." Isabella's heart clenched. She looked at Emma, now humming and building a sugar packet fortress, and everything made sense. The desperation, the need to be near her father, the fear of him being away even one evening. "I'm so sorry, James. I can't imagine how hard that's been for you both." "We're managing somehow. Most days are good now. She goes to therapy weekly, I go to therapy weekly. Sometimes we go together. But Emma still has moments where she gets scared if I'm not around. Moments where the fear and grief overwhelm her completely. I thought we were past the worst. I really thought she was ready for me to have one evening away." "Grief doesn't work on schedules," Isabella said softly, drawing on years of hospital experience with families in crisis. "Especially for children. They process things so differently. Sometimes they're fine for months, and then something small triggers them, and they're right back in the worst of it, like no time passed." James looked at her with wonder and relief. You really mean that? You're not just being polite because you're stuck here with us. I work with sick and scared kids every single day. I know what real pain looks like in a child. I also know what good parenting looks like. You're doing amazing, James. Better than amazing. You're doing everything right. His eyes got shiny with unshed tears. Thank you. You have no idea how much I needed to hear that tonight. As if on cue, Emma tugged on Isabella's sleeve with chocolate-covered fingers. Isabella, can I tell you a secret? A really important one? Emma, leave Isabella alone, James started. It's okay, I love secrets. She leaned down for Emma to whisper. What the little girl whispered next made Isabella's breath catch and her heart break. I came here tonight to make sure you were nice to my daddy, because daddy cries at night when he thinks I'm sleeping. I hear him sometimes in his room, crying really quiet so I don't know and get sad too. He's so lonely and sad all the time. He misses mommy so much, but won't say it out loud because he thinks it'll make me sad and scared. And I need to make sure whoever he likes won't leave us like mommy did, because mommy didn't want to leave, but she did anyway, and it hurts so bad. And if someone else leaves us, I think daddy's heart will break all the way forever and never get fixed ever again, and then I'll be all alone. Isabella pulled back slowly, looking into Emma's eyes with new understanding. The wisdom and pain there was far beyond 7 years. This wasn't a bratty kid crashing a date for attention or being spoiled. This wasn't a tantrum. This was a little girl desperately trying to protect the only parent she had left, trying to guard against more devastating loss the only way her 7-year-old brain knew. Isabella felt her eyes burn with tears. She blinked them back quickly, not wanting to scare Emma. Isabella, she whispered back carefully, choosing each word precisely, if your daddy and I become friends, I promise you I will never, ever lie to either of you about anything, and I would never leave without saying goodbye. That's not the kind of person I am. That's not how I treat people I care about. Do you believe me? Emma studied her face intently for a long moment. She looked at Isabella like Isabella looked at test results, searching for truth beneath the surface, looking for any deception or false promises. Finally, Emma nodded solemnly, a small smile breaking through. Okay, I believe you. You have kind eyes. Mommy always said people with kind eyes don't lie. Liars have mean, sneaky eyes. Then, as if a switch flipped, as if passing her test lifted an enormous weight off her small shoulders, Emma yawned enormously. Her whole face scrunched up and she made a tiny squeaking sound. James checked his watch and sighed. It's way past bedtime for little troublemakers. We need to get you home right now. I'm not even tired, she protested weakly, yawning wider, showing all her tiny teeth.
Sure you're not. Come on, let's go. James signaled for the check, then looked at Isabella with genuine regret. I hate that this is how the evening ended. This was supposed to be romantic and normal, and now it's just chaos. It didn't end badly, Isabella said firmly, meaning every word. It just ended differently than we expected. Sometimes different is better than perfect. Perfect is boring anyway. When the check arrived, Isabella tried splitting it, but James refused. You stayed through complete chaos and a crying child. The least I can do is buy you dinner. I insist. As they stood to leave, gathering coats and bags, Emma grabbed Isabella's hand firmly. Her small fingers wrapped around Isabella's with surprising strength and determination. Will you come to our house sometime? I want to show you my room. I have a princess castle and a huge collection of stuffed animals and glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling and everything cool. Emma, don't push it, James warned gently, but there was hope in his voice. I would absolutely love to see your room, Isabella said honestly, squeezing the small hand, if your dad says it's okay with him. James looked at her like she'd offered him the world. Yeah, that would be really great. Really great, actually. They walked out of the restaurant together into the cool evening air. City sounds enveloped them. Distant traffic, music from nearby bars, chatter and laughter of people enjoying Saturday night. Emma held both their hands tightly, swinging between them like a happy bridge and humming the theme song from her favorite princess movie. At her car, Isabella crouched down to Emma's level one more time. "Thank you for being honest with me tonight. What you told me took a lot of courage and bravery." Emma threw her arms around Isabella's neck in an impulsive, tight hug that smelled like chocolate and children's shampoo and pure innocence. "I like you so much. You smell pretty like flowers, and you didn't get mad at me even when I ruined your fancy grown-up date." "You didn't ruin anything, sweetheart. You made it better. You made it real and honest." "Really?" "Really, truly, I promise." After they buckled Emma into James's car, a sensible sedan with a booster seat and scattered toys in the back, he walked Isabella to her vehicle under the streetlights. "So, complete disaster aside, I actually had a really good time tonight, the parts before and after the drama." "Me too, and honestly, it wasn't a disaster. It was real and honest. That's actually better than perfect and polished any day." "Is it weird that I want to kiss you right now, after all that chaos?" Isabella laughed genuinely. "A little weird, yes, but I want you to anyway." He leaned in slowly, giving her every opportunity to change her mind, to pull away, to decide this was too complicated. But she didn't move. The kiss was soft and sweet and full of promise, the kind that feels like a beginning rather than an ending. "Daddy's kissing Isabella!" Emma's delighted shout came from the car window where her face was pressed against the glass. "I can see you! You're kissing, and it's kind of gross but also really nice." They broke apart, both laughing now, foreheads touching briefly in the streetlight glow. "I should go before she provides more detailed commentary on our technique." He didn't move immediately. "Probably wise." He hesitated, hand on her car door. "Thank you for understanding tonight, for being kind to Emma when you had every right to walk out and never look back, for not running away screaming. Thank you for being an amazing father. It's incredibly attractive, by the way, like really, really attractive." James grinned, that same genuine smile when she'd first walked in hours ago. "Call you tomorrow? I'll be genuinely disappointed if you don't." As Isabella drove home through the quiet city streets, her face actually hurt from smiling so much. Her phone buzzed at a red light, a text from James. "She's already completely asleep in the back seat, but before she passed out, she asked me 3 times if you're going to be her new friend. I told her I really hoped so. I really, really hope so too." Isabella replied immediately. "Tell her yes when she wakes up tomorrow. Tell her definitely, absolutely yes. Because sometimes the interruptions are actually introductions. Sometimes the crashes are actually perfect landings. And sometimes a 7-year-old girl in a pink dress knows exactly what her father needs before he does."